Hey there. So welcome to this week's Illuminating Insights. It's May 6th through the 12th. And let's see what the cards have to say. I'm using the Illuminating Journey Cards that I created. Here's the box with the help of the Akashic Records. And these are soul portals. So they give us insight into what's happening, and they meet us where we are. So when you look at the pictures, you may get a different thing to me, and that's totally fine, right? Because we're learning to trust our own intuition, trust the messages we're getting, and open up to what is coming. So let's see what the week brings. So the first card is the Divine Line. And for those of you who don't know this card deck, there are 3 different types of cards, and one of the types is tools, and this is a tool. So what we need to know this week or focus on is this idea of having this cell phone connection, divine connection to source, to God, whatever you want to call it, the universe. And this is a reminder that, you know, we're not alone, especially in these times where hectic things are happening and so much of what we've relied on is falling away. We may rely on the idea that people treat each other well, and now we're learning that people are getting away with not treating each other well and no one's holding them accountable. Or, you know, something that's always been the same is suddenly not the same. And so we're feeling lost, and that can create fear. So this message here is for us to recognize that we're connected to the divine. We have the cell phone, so we can actually kind of call up and ask for what we need. We can ask for support. We can ask for understanding, compassion, just love. Just let me know I'm in the right place. Bring me light. You know, let me be in that place of light and love, and help me let go of my patterns or what I fear. There's that kind of tools on here. You can infuse the energy of the divine into your body. You can, you know, eject yourself from an uncomfortable position by calling on the divine to help you see things in a different light. You can record like what's going on. I need to remember this. I want to grace it in. You know, diffuse. Is an angry situation or uncomfortable, and can you help me to see this in a different light? Bring in some love so I can, you know, come support me so I can deal with what's happening in my world. And what happens is if we don't ask, if we don't invite, or we don't call up the divine, you know, we can be left hanging, because everything is permission based, and we want people to ask our permission. So we have to get very clear about asking or telling people what we need and making sure they are asking our permission. So we're training people to treat us differently. They're training us to treat them differently. So we also have to do the same with the spiritual world. So hopefully that makes sense. And then we have the 9, and I know this showed up last week. This is about this idea of being, you know, of endings and rebirth. Well, I'm pretty sure it showed up last week. Anyway, the idea here is that you're entering this birthing tunnel, this idea of you being reborn in a new way, igniting the spiritual sense of who you are, but you're doing it on the earthly plane. So you're really recognizing the importance of your relationships with other people, your relationship to the earth. How are you treating the earth? Are you paying attention? How are you treating your body? In order to feel that energy of change, and to kind of harness it so that you can have the change you desire, that you can take advantage of the opportunities that are around you, even though they may not be obvious. You need to get more connected, quieter, go to ground, listen to the earth, listen to the energies, the trees, make choices based on your intuition or what your body's telling you. Get more intimate with the tools you have, your body, your intuition, your connection to spirit, you know, and your creative mind, not the mind that tells you how wrong you are and that you don't know anything and there's a lot of fearful things, but the mind that tells you This is the moment to innovate and create and activate and have compassion. Let go of the old stuff. You're tunneling into something new. So remember, you have the tool, you have permission, you have the ability to call the divine and say, show me a different way of doing this. Support me in understanding something or learning something I don't know so that I can do this differently. I want to change the pattern because everything around me is changing, so I need to be different. And, this idea of developing permission-based is remembering that you have as much right as someone else, and so does someone else. So you have to be aware that and that's where boundaries come in. They can attempt to do things, but you don't have to agree with them or act the way they want you to. So you don't need to go along with them because they say that they know better, right? And it takes work. This is practice, right? This is practice. Learning to kind of tunnel into a new way of being. It takes practice, it takes effort, it takes conscious awareness. I am doing this differently. I recognize my pattern, and I'm doing it differently. I'm not going to do what I did before. I'm not going to stay silent. I'm not going to just go along with what other people say. I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to take tiny little steps to just micro change the way I respond. You don't have to change it all at once unless you want to. And then interesting, the last card is the 22 Soul Portal. And as I mentioned, when you look at these cards, you may see something different, and that's totally fine because your intuition, your creative ability is working with the cards. So it's a master number, the 22. So it's asking us to master our belief system around what we think peace is, what we think our direction is. And this card is saying you need to follow what feels connected and divine instead of just following somebody in front of you or going, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Somebody else is telling me. So you can certainly hear other people's opinions. You can ask their advice, but be sure to check in and see what it is you want in this. Where do you want to go? Where are you being drawn? And check in to make sure that it's, it feels divinely aligned. Does it feel connected? Does it feel right to you? And not just doing stuff because you're supposed to. I see so many people, and I've certainly had the same experience of being drawn along a road that really feels heavy and difficult with no sustenance. And then when we look to the left or right, we see this lusciousness that's calling us to awaken to something different, to take a risk in a new way, and go where we're being called in from the heart, from the gut, what feels right. To follow some dream or idea or response that may not be in the books, but it's not in the books yet because we're in a time of deep innovation where new things are being born, so they haven't been created yet. So we get to be those creators and bring those things into real form by choosing to do things that feel aligned and juicy. If we do things where somebody's hurting us or feels bad, it's probably not a good idea, right? We want to move away from that. We want to move more towards something that feels good, that reminds us that we're loved and whole and we're being supported. So, first card, the tool, the cell phone to the divine line. So remember, the divine is with you. Call up if you need help. The second card is about letting go of the ideas that you can't do something different, that you're afraid to make a fool of yourself or look awkward. It's just like it doesn't matter because you're forging a new path. And in order to do something new, you have to kind of stumble and fall and all of that to learn something new. So you're being supported here divinely. So have love and compassion for yourself, for people around you, and just allow yourself to travel towards this knowing of what feels connected to you, what you know is connected to you. And then the final card, the 22, which is about being inspired by your divine knowing. It's calling you into this lusciousness of nature. Right now, nature is calling you in to go and commune with nature. Go commune with your nature. Be connected to the earth. This is a really important time to connect to the earth. We can't just dismiss what's on the earth or how the earth operates, because technology can only take us so far, right? Technology is a cold thing. It doesn't have a heart. And so in order to find that peace, prosperity, that connection with others, that balance that we're seeking, that we can know ourselves within the world, we want to be able to connect to the deep knowing peace of nature, because nature carries so much wisdom, and our bodies are made of the material of nature, so our bodies carry so much wisdom. So when we listen and we pay attention and we're willing to go into these green, nurturing places, those people we love, by ourselves, and hear the wisdom of what's around us, we will be inspired and we will have more energy, and we'll be able to generate more things and change, create new things, because we're coming from a place of love and peace and plenty. We feel the abundance. We don't feel lack. So it's all about connecting, setting boundaries, and being willing to go to those places that people have told you are no good. Don't go there. Don't enjoy yourself. Joy. That's the key thing. But it's also about bringing things to earth. You're rooting new things in the earth right now. That's what the cards are saying. I know that's what's happening out in the cosmos, the messages I'm getting. All about being rooted in the earth in a new way. You're developing new systems, new ways of being. So it's calling on you to change your habits, to pay attention, be conscious of what you're saying to yourself, what you're saying to others, how you're reacting. What are you focusing on and expanding around you? Are you expanding things that are doomy and gloomy and fear-based? Or are you going, well, here's an opportunity for me to have a different experience? So hopefully that resonates for you. Let me know in a comment what comes up for you, what you saw, if what I'm saying relates, if you saw something different. If you're interested in the cards or in more about what I do, you can go to my website, jenduchene.com. The cards are jenduchene.com/illuminating journey cards. I am actually going to be teaching a class on using the cards, a 6 weeks class that's going to be coming up in June. So June 6th is the date I've set. So if you're interested, you should get on my mailing list, which is also on my website, jenduchene.com. Get on my mailing list. You'll get the information about how to use these cards. I'm going to train you to be able to read the cards for yourself, so you don't need an interpreter, because the cards are your interpreter and you create a relationship with them. So it's very exciting to have that opportunity. So seek me out. Let me know what's showing up for you. If you like this video, click like, click subscribe, and leave me a comment, and I will see you next week.